attending. As mentioned, my name is Tony Reda. I am the CEO and one of the co-founders for Tectonic Metals. We do trade on the TSX Venture and also on the OTCQB. I guess I'll kick off this presentation by the most common question I've been getting. There was a well-known banker in the mining space. He approached me, he said, "What the hell did I miss?" And in the last 3 months, we've been able to really transform this company as far as capital raising and the execution of a very large drill program. We've raised 34 million in the last 3 months. Most of that money is going into the ground. We have 3 drills turning that started May 30th, right through till the end of October. Today we announced our first drill result from the 2025 campaign, and we'll talk a bit about that. Another great discovery that has some high-grade gold mineralization in there as well. You're looking at our property here at the Alpha Bowl, which is the primary focus of the Phase 1 program. Draw your attention to that slide. It's located on our website. It is there for a reason, so please take the time to read it before making any investment decision into our company. So kind of like where did things get started? We do have this asset called the Flat Gold Project. It's in Alaska, 40 kilometers from the 5th largest undeveloped gold deposit in the world. That's the Donlin deposit. But we've been advancing this property over 2 years very systematically with metallurgy, de-risking. We have our production agreement in place. We have an IBA agreement in place. This is all part of the Tectonic way of de-risking and playing the long game. That being said, we executed a program last year that focused on targeting this area called Alpha Bowl. Alpha Bowl hosts one of the most prolific placer gold producing creeks. Historic gold production at Alpha Bowl was 650,000 ounces. And the entire sort of 50-year history of this project, no one decided to test this up until Tectonic. Our first hole went in there, came back with 65 meters of a gram. That hole was only 65 meters in length. It was an RC hole, very shallow, used as a scout drill to test targets very quickly. Within that, we had 6 meters of 6 grams and 1.5 meters of 21 grams per ton. The market kind of yawned at those results, if you will, but our shareholders recognized the importance, and Crescat, to their credit, stepped up with a lead order of $3.5 million. We wanted to get this thing drill tested, figure out the scale, the grade, the geometry of the discovery, launched a $7 million financing, non-brokered, closed $12.7 million in 30 days. Off we went, 3 drills, Phase 1's turning. We've been courting a few funds, if you will, very established funds, which we'll get to. They now want to come into the story to support an initiative that targets not necessarily the discovery, but the initiative of working Chicken Mountain, our primary intrusion target, towards a maiden inferred resource. Launched that financing, 12.7 million. A month later, closed 21 million. Very thankful for the support that these institutions are demonstrating. That financing was without a warrant to. Phase 2 has now been launched. So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of all these things. I will say, also, we did something somewhat unique. We announced our first ever virtual drill core shack last week. We had our technical team, which also includes Dr. Richard Goldfarb, very well-known geologist that recently joined our advisory board, where we talk about the rocks. We did intersect VG in multiple holes, but that Phase 1 consists of 48 drill holes, and we've only released 1 to date. So more results to come throughout the incoming weeks. You know, the foundation for making that sort of transformative year, you're looking at the core team here from our directors and senior management team. Our advisors, which aren't on this slide, also played a critical role in that. But the Tectonic team is not just about geologists. What makes a great business, and I stress the word business of exploration, it is geology. It's people that know the capital markets, people that know ESG, the local communities. Legal also plays a role, and our team, thankfully, has executed on all those fronts. And you can read a bit more about their bios. The other entities or people that made this happen, that $34 million raise, we are largely supported by Crescat Capital. They're our largest shareholder, sitting at about 20% ownership. We're probably the only junior mining, or possibly the only mining company that actually has Indigenous shareholders investing their hard-earned capital into our company, encouraging us to explore on their land. And that's a huge differentiator. It's also a huge honor to have one of Alaska's largest native corporations supporting us in our exploration efforts at Flat. They believe in the team. They also believe in the prospects of that project. They're our second largest shareholder. And last but not least, we've had Franklin Templeton, and now Van Eck come down to Tectonic pre-resource to support that phase 2 initiative as we work this project towards the its maiden and inferred resource here. What drew me into this project were a few things. A, it's near Donlin, 5th largest undeveloped gold deposit in a well-known mineral belt, or maybe not as well-known mineral belt, and no one's around. Thankfully, the native corporation that we've partnered up with, they actually have land in the belt. So that drew me in. Second thing, what you're seeing here with those pink lines is placer gold. So Flat is the 3rd richest placer mining jurisdiction in all of Alaska with 1.4 million ounces of gold. Very gold fertile endowment. On the right, you can look at our geophysics. Each one of these blue pearls represents a district scale or a kilometer scale potential deposit. And I don't say that in a promotional way, and I can't say the word deposit due to NI 43-101, but each one of these blue anomalies has been validated through drilling, and also they have placer gold coming out of them. So that gold came from somewhere, and the likelihood of those transitioning to deposits is very real. Black Creek actually hosts an old historic mine that produced about 3,000 ounces at 12 grams, so that's been validated. Golden Apex has a drill hole. Chicken Mountain has 86 drill holes and counting. The fact that we have placer gold also told me that we have free milling gold, or there could be a strong possibility. If Mother Nature can liberate the gold, chances are that this is not a Donlin refractory deposit, but a free milling opportunity. And to that point, before we did any drilling, we took the historical drill core and we did a series of metallurgical testing, very comprehensive, two ball rolls at different crush sizes, flotation, gravity and ball roll, 96, 99, 97% gold recovery. We did our first ever heap leach column test, raising the bar high on the coarse crush, going with a 3/4 inch crush, which represents a 3-stage crushing circuit, 96, 91% recovery after 70 days. This year, we're now going to collect material to do a 2-inch crush, which represents a 2-stage crushing circuit. If anyone knows anything about mining, when you look at all-in sustaining costs, 50% of your costs are always attributed to crushing and grinding. So inherently, if you can lower your crush, you can process possibly lower grade material more profitably and have, in essence, lower all-in sustaining costs. So that's the path we're going down. We zoom into Chicken Mountain here. Fascinatingly enough, I don't even know if that's a word, but Chicken Mountain, 6.5 kilometers by 5 kilometers. These targets are massive. If this was in the public domain, you would have one company working each one of these. And actually back in the day, Fairbanks Gold, founded and funded by Robert Friedland, actually drilled the first few holes at Chicken Mountain. Placer Dome drilled the first few holes at Black Creek. It now all belongs to Tectonic. We have 86 drill holes and counting, because we're drilling there right now at Chicken Mountain. Every hole has hit gold. That tells us the system is big. It's not necessarily Tectonic geos are super smart. That is the case to some extent, but the system is large. In addition to that, golden soil sampling is our primary exploration tool, literally mimicking the mineralization below your feet, again with a 100% drill success rate. You can see the placer gold draining out of Chicken Mountain. Historical reports, the Department of Natural Resources, the USGS, you name it, have credited Chicken Mountain as the primary bedrock source. Okay, looking at some of the drill results. Today's drill result on the far left at Alpha Bowl. Alpha Bowl was designed to test the bedrock source of Flat Creek. 650,000 ounces of recorded gold production. Again, no one's drilled it up until Tectonic. Those red dots that you see there, that's all of the drilling that's occurred in phase 1. There's 24 holes specifically at Alpha Bowl, 8 diamond holes down as deep as 350 to 390 meters in length. The result that we announced this morning, 2.2 grams over 41 meters. That hole was only 124 meters in length. It also included 4 grams over 21, 6 grams over 10, and 13 grams over 4.5. There was also another interval in that hole that was 45 meters of 0.58. And so 2 mineralized corridors or zones in that hole, right on the edge of the drilling that we've done. So now completely open even further than what we initially anticipated. This thing is like Fort Knox, where you have a sea of lower grade, call it less than 1 gram per ton gold. It's pervasive. And then you can get these quartz sheeted veins that can run as high as 200 grams per ton. Our job is to figure out what's controlling the grade and how do we target and be more effective in doing so. We're just getting started. We're going to have over 15,000 meters of drilling this year alone. 3 drills actively turning through to October 30th. If we zoom in at that Chicken Mountain, 3 kilometers of drilled strike. Every hole here has hit gold. You can also note that 46 out of the 86 holes ended in mineralization, including our deepest holes that were 400 plus meters in length. You're looking at a 0.1 cutoff. If you take that to 1 gram per ton cutoff, you can see that there's no shortage of 1 gram per ton material. I'll note the scale here. These are 300 meter by 300 meter quadrants. In the core there, you have probably about a 600 meter quadrant at 1 gram per ton. These holes are begging for drill holes next to it. We now have the capital to do that and advance this towards its first maiden inferred resource estimate. You'll also note in the plan view up above that there are golden soils that haven't even been drill tested. Remember, unglaciated terrain, soils are mimicking the mineralization below your feet, and they have never lied once. So the soil anomaly right now is 4 kilometers in length. Do I anticipate that we're gonna have 4 kilometers of strike? Hell yeah. I also anticipate these holes all being mineralized at depth because we have 86 suggesting and statistically suggesting that the system can host that. So what's next on the horizon for Tectonic? First hole of the phase 1 was announced this morning. That means we have 47 more holes to come. There's going to be new discovery holes that will be announced. We've tested several of those intrusion targets. Jam is a brand new intrusion target, never been drilled in the past. We're the first ones to do it. Black Creek, Golden Apex is an intrusion northeast of Alpha Bowl. We've launched our phase 2. Expect a news release on that front, but phase 2 is going to be targeting 9 to 10,000 meters, chipping away at that maiden inferred estimate at Chicken Mountain. In addition to that, we expect to go, we'll get results right through to the end of the year and even into Q1. So expect over 100 drill holes to be announced. So exciting times for Tectonic. We then anticipate our heap leach column test results going back into the field. We have over 30 million in cash right now. And so we do anticipate to kick off that program as early as possible, possibly late April, early May. We are contemplating possibly issuing that maiden inferred resource estimate earlier or possibly waiting till the end of 2026. That would be married to a PEA and then PFS or feasibility study and kicking off sort of hopefully permitting in 2029. That is a conceptual timeline. If we can fast track it, we will. We now have the capital and the support to do so. Share structure is extremely tight, 89 million shares outstanding, of which I would say more than probably 35% of it is held in very strong hands. We have a good roster of shareholders that are not here to flip stock. They're here to see a mine and ride this through. Their commitment speaks volumes. The last financing, like I said, was no warrant. The one before that did have a warrant. 3L Capital, a nod to them. They played a pivotal role in those financings, and they also have coverage on us, and they happen to be here as well. So I will leave it at